PD on him, I would have thought it was, some dopey friend of mine making a joke.
Yeah.
There's just, we were working with the cops since the first thing, trying to, trying to understand or, trying to make it do what we could. There's just nothing, we got nothing to give you. There's just nothing. He was just a guy.
Just a guy.
Okay, she's 90 years old, and her son just killed a bunch of people and got shot dead. So she's a little rattled, strangely enough. But she's okay.
The shooter's brother.
Yeah, it's his girlfriend. That's why we were on the phone with cops the first thing, is to find out what happened to her. There's no, she's just a nice lady who was his girlfriend. And we were worried that she was going to get, shot up or something, because they thought something weird. But he's definitely only himself. There's no affiliations. Once again, that I know of at all. There's no affiliations. There's no church. There's no religion. There's no politics. There's no anything. No mental illness. No, once again, that I know of. But there's nothing.
Nothing that would have indicated to you.
Yeah, he had some allergies.
Yeah.
He was just a guy.
Yeah.
This is
the shooter's brother.
Not as strange at all. They are in contact.
I want to know. We want to know what in the world. We need to know. I'd like to know how in the world. What happened? Because, like I said, it's just like an asteroid fell out of the sky. There was nothing that would say he would do this kind of thing.
Not once did they say this dude is a monster. Not once have they called him a terrorist. A domestic terrorist. Because he was smart. He wasn't domestic. He was smart mystic.
Have you seen any of the videos? Have you?
I've been watching this stuff all morning.
And how does that affect you?
The new face of terror. Old white men.
How does that affect me? I'm a little, I got this headache right now, strangely enough. Our family's huddling together and trying to hope, we're trying to make sense of this. The first thing I did was get a hold of everybody and find out if anybody had been in contact with him or anything. But nothing. My son had texted him a couple weeks ago to tell him about he's getting married, and, if he wanted to drop by for the wedding kind of thing. There's...
When was the last time he lived in Florida? Was it recent?
It's been a year or two ago now. You'll find out. He lived in Melbourne. He had a house there for a little while. Decided he didn't like the, too much dust from the farms over in the end of Vieira. Mm-hmm. I moved him back to Vegas, to Mesquite. Mm-hmm. He ate burritos at the Del Taco. He drove down to Vegas and played video poker.
From what he was just living a normal life.
There's exactly nothing. Yeah, exactly nothing.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
He's retired.
What had he done before?
There's just nothing.
Yeah.
It's all in the public record. He did stuff. He went to college. He had a job. We owned some apartments. We sold some apartments. There's nothing. There was no
indication at all.
Nothing. That's what's so...
Owned apartments, sold apartments. Maybe he knew Donald Trump.
There's nothing.
We're learning more, or at least asking a whole lot more questions about exactly what happened in Las Vegas, that deadly shooting that took place overnight. Let's get you caught up. We are awaiting a live news conference from officials. The police department and the mayor are both expected to speak just a few as Stephen Paddock, 64 years old, from Mesquite, Nevada. Joining me now, Darren Porcher, Clint Watts, and Natalie Azar. Clint, let's start with you. What do you make of this?
I just wonder about motive and when the decision was made. You know, usually if you see a connection to a group or an organization, there's some premeditation there, and at least so far we have no evidence of any true motive. I think it was the 25th of September that he checked in.
28th.
28th. This, event went on for, it sounds like 2 or 3 days. And so, what if the scenario plays out that he just saw this event and decided kind of on the spur of the moment to put this together?
But on the spur of the moment, can you get over 10 guns, and not just guns, automatic assault rifles?
I think it's possible. I mean, if you have friends, that are in these networks, if
Listen
you've
to
been,
this asshole.
Purchasing or owning weapons in the past, I don't think it's impossible to do that. And I don't know what his motive is, but you do wonder if he had this room and he was looking out over this, could there be no real, premeditated plan to this? This was maybe a emotional decision that happened at the last minute. It was a 3-day festival. This was the end of the festival. He's been in this room for several days. You don't know what his mental state is. You're not seeing any connections to a group. I just think at this point there's not much to go on.
He's a retired guy, but as we learned from Pete Williams, he had been frequenting the casinos a lot in recent weeks, moving tens of thousands of dollars. Is that a clue in any way to you?
Well, I don't think this was I don't think that this was a spur of the moment thought process on this individual. I think that this was something that was planned. I think that once he checked in on the 28th, he knew what he was going to do. To amass 10 weapons and to be in that vantage point and shoot that many people requires a lot of training. And a lot of tactical planning. And so I just go back to, I was an Army officer and I've trained with numerous automatic weapons in my past, and just that continuous volley of shots and the exchange weapons going back and forth, that really takes a precise precision. So you mentioned that he was gambling in casino. Those things may have come into play, but once again, I think that this was a calculated act that was acted upon by a madman. And I'm interested in seeing what his psychological profile is. His brother's saying one thing, but I'm hearing other things, that he did have a psychological history. The police are saying that the only interaction that they had with him was a citation. But when we look at someone that's 64 years old, they generally don't have a large social media network. And so they're going to really have to focus on what his digital blueprint was in terms of who he contacted by phone, get into his computer, and you need to address those individuals so you can determine what his ideology was moving forward to commit to such a horrific act.
Dr. Natalie, take us to triage. 50 people already confirmed dead, over 400 taken to area hospitals. One hospital that we spoke to has over 100 patients, and they're the only hospital that's a trauma 1 that can handle this.
I know.
Can they actually?
Well, they can. Let's think just about the philosophy of triage, is that you want to save as many lives as you can. So you want to do the greatest amount of good to the greatest amount of people with the limited capabilities that you have. So you take a level 1 trauma center, which is the only one in that area, 6 miles from.
And what does level 1 mean?
Level 1 means that they have the capacity to do emergency, critical care, trauma, orthopedic, neurology. They have imaging, radiology services. They basically can handle anything.
A hospital, goddammit.
Level 2, level 3, even up to a level 5. But one of the first things they want to do, and one of the most important things, is preparedness. And so after 9/11, we saw that a lot of hospitals implemented new disaster plans, especially after the Orlando shooting too. There has to be excellent communication from the first responders on the ground to the EMTs to the hospitals, so that they can get the sickest patients the care that they need.
One
they get to
old
the doors,
white
they
man.
go to the emergency room bay. They may go straight to the emergency room, to
One
the operating room. The
old
other thing they can do is they
white
call
man.
selective admissions. They can transfer less critically ill people, patients to
One
level 2,
old
level 3,
white man.
more community hospital scenarios, so that they have the beds, the availability, and the manpower to handle a trauma like this.
All right, I want to bring in NBC's Steve Patterson.
They ain't called him a terrorist yet.
Strip, very close to where the shooting took place last night. Steve, what's happening there now?
Police have opened most of the Vegas Strip now. We've seen this area pretty much on lockdown since we were here last night.
They ain't say terrorist yet. What the fuck? That's the textbook definition of terrorism. All them people was terrified.
Meanwhile, police haven't locked up the scene back behind me. There still remains a line of pocket tape. Police vehicles.
See if Donald Trump called him a terrorist.
Anybody from getting, obviously, to obscure.